Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the I Am CDB project. I, of course, am your host, CDB. You are not. And today we are going to do a comparison between the Rockwell Model T, and we're going to turn it up to its maximum of 6, and the Black Beauty Gillette Super Adjustable. It's called by some. I think this is the short-handled version. I'm not exactly sure. Might actually be the long-handled version. Anyway, just to get a comparison for the size, there you have it. This might be the long-handled version, actually. Anyway, doesn't matter. One of the things I wanted to show you, though, is the blades set really deep in the Rockwell. You can't, when you go to take the blade out, you can't, it's really difficult to get a hold of those ridges to take it out. So you sort of have to dump it out. If that means anything to you, just keep that in mind. It's really deep and hard. You can get a hold of it sometimes, but it covers the tabs and everything, and it's kind of difficult to get out with your hand. However, you can just turn it upside down and come right out. The Black Beauty and the Fat Boys and Slims, on the other hand, you can get a hold of those tabs and it comes right out, and the doors are more shallow, so it's easier. That probably doesn't mean much to you, but I thought I would point it out. Today for the cream, we're going to use the Art of Shaving Ocean Kelp, which was sent to me by the inspector. It's got a really pleasant, it's hard to say, it's just got a great scent. Hard to describe, I should say. Just really pleasant, not super overpowering or anything of that nature. It's really hard to describe. Just fresh and clean would be the way I would sort of describe it as I put the cap back on. Art of Shaving actually makes good creams, a little on the expensive side, but if you catch them on sale or something, really nice creams. Then we're going to use our West Coast Shaving brush. One of the things I want to mention is, you see the bottom of the brush there. You see how there's some white residue in there? That is no fault to the brush. I started doing something just to see how it would go. I started setting my brush down. I would rinse it completely and then set it down to dry instead of leaving it in a brush holder like this, for example. And what I noticed was this almost turned completely white just from water and maybe some soap residue or something. But I would rinse the whole thing off and set it down so there wasn't a ton of soap residue. I got most of it out, but I need to still work in that crack there. So if you leave your brush setting down like that, you could get deposits on the bottom, as I did. No fault of the brush. Again, that's just something I was doing just to see what would happen. And I don't know why I'm starting with the head. I'm going to actually do the face first here, and we'll do the comparison. And we'll use the Black Beauty or super adjustable on this side, and we'll use the Rockwell on the other, and sort of compare and see how it goes. Again, the cream here, Art of Shaving, again, good stuff. Like the scent, it's just got a really, for me, a nice, pleasant scent. It's noticeable, but not overpowering, sort of in that mid-range, but it's not an offense. I don't think a lot of people would be offended by this scent. It's just one of those, it's sort of a fresh, clean sort of scent, which I happen to like. But of course, preferences on that are highly subjective. So keep that in mind. Let's get that off the nose. We don't need it there. And we'll start off with our Black Beauty, again on 9, its maximum setting. And my opinion is on the Gillette razors, the vintage adjustable razors, that even at max setting, they don't come to quite medium on my scale for aggression, I should say. They're still sort of in the mild category, as far as I'm concerned, even turned all the way up. They just don't have a lot of aggression, but they do work well. And if you stick with them and learn how to use them, they're really good shavers. And if you appreciate a mild shaver, then they're fantastic, So keep that in mind. Just really nice, mild shavers as far as I'm concerned. So there we have the first pass there with the Gillette, and then in comes the Rockwell, which is considerably heavier and brings a little more aggression to the table. And I like the way this feels in terms of the shape a lot more, quite frankly, than the Black Beauty. Although both shave well, this one just feels better to me, the Rockwell. For this particular test, it just, I don't know, it feels nice, feels smooth, but it still feels like it's doing its work pretty well. And so let's sort of feel around here and see how we did. And again, I'm not noticing a ton of difference there on that first pass. Again, I think my personal feeling is that you tend to compensate. You know, when you're doing these tests, even if you're keeping one on one side of the face and one on the other for the entire shave, I think you tend to try to compensate based on the feel, because really it's all about the way it feels, and you can tell when to stay on an area and when to move on, because you're feeling the cutting, so you tend to stay there more if you're not getting the efficiency. So overall, it becomes close to a wash, even though one is far more efficient than the other. I think we just tend to adjust our technique, or at least I do. I would, as I mentioned in the last comparison video, I would have to literally count strokes to make it dead even and then compare to get a real true comparison. But, you know, we're doing the best we can here, and we'll see how it goes. The inspector has been doing a lot of live shaves in the Razor and Brush Facebook group, so check that out. He's seemed to be getting his sea legs under him in terms of shaving on video, which is different from, I mean, it's still shaving, don't get me wrong, but it is different, and anybody who does videos will tell you when you're trying to talk and shave at the same time. No, I've never been one that's sort of a contortionist who has to, you know, move my mouth around and all that kind of stuff. But I am satisfied with I don't need a baby butt smooth shave. So I'm satisfied if I just have a good shave. So I'm not always looking for perfection. But those guys that are, you know, they're really contorting their face and stretching and doing all that stuff because they just really want to get that baby butt smooth. And for me, I just want it to sort of be smooth to the feel, you know, and down to the surface, and then I'm happy with it. Again, I do prefer the shave here, just prefer the feel of the Rockwell overall. Comparing the two, it just feels right, lack of a better way of describing. But let's move on to pass 3. I'm not going to check my face between those two passes. I'll check after this one. And my feeling is maybe the Rockwell side will come out a little better, but probably won't be by much. And so I think for most people, it's likely that, you know, either of these razors would do well. If you're in that, you know, super coarse beard sort of category where it's, you know, like a wire brush, you might need more aggression, you might need something different. But these two razors seem to work well for a large group of people. But the Rockwell definitely give the edge in the way it feels. But both will do a nice job if you take your time and, you know, learn to use them properly. And that's really, you know, what it all comes down to. Again, I want to thank everybody for watching the videos. Again, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps me out. I have like, you know, 8,000 or 9,000 subscribers on iLather and about maybe 3,000 on this channel. So if you were on iLather, and if you haven't checked out iLather, go check it out. I look different, but it's me. Subscribe in both places if you like, but all the new content will be on this channel. And the reason I created this channel was because I wanted to have a channel where I could do something other than shaving content. As, you know, if I wanted to speak on politics or whatever. And so iLather, you know, was all about shaving. And so it didn't feel like the right platform. And so initially, I stuck with both channels, keeping the shaving content on one and all the other stuff on this one. Then I figured, let's just put it all on one channel, and then people can skip the, you know, political or fishing video or whatever I choose to do. If they don't want to see those, they can just, you know, not view that content. But please subscribe and thumbs up if you enjoy it. It does help, and it helps recommend the video so more people will see it. And I think I have a different approach than a lot of the folks out there and have, in that, you know, I'm just sort of do things organically. It's not a bunch of, you know, repeating, you know, vendor and manufacturer stuff that they want people to push. I'm just using them and letting you know how it is. And I don't have any businesses. I don't make any money in terms of selling products. So you're just getting my true feelings about the products I use here. And let's see how we did. I think this side is definitely better. So let's go ahead and do an overall touch-up. It's just slightly better. I mean, it would be passable if I left it the way it is, but I'm gonna do just a wee bit of touching up just to make it even. And then we'll sort of go from there, just touch up this side a little bit. And again, these type of videos are just sort of meant to show you. The one thing I can tell you is the Rockwell is more efficient, heavier, longer handle. So if you need, you know, more aggression, it might be a better fit. I think it's a smoother shaver also, personally. And it's not that I'm trying to plug Rockwell. It's just the newest adjustable that I have. So I'm just sort of comparing it against all the other adjustables that I have, just for the purpose of letting you know what I think. And then you can, you know, go and make your purchasing decision. Or, you know, let's face it, these flip on the secondhand market along with every other razor. So maybe you see one for a really good deal on secondhand market and go, hey, I've been watching the video, maybe I want to take a flyer on it. So far, it's been a really good razor. I definitely give it a thumbs up. But the old vintage, been around forever, nothing to sneeze at. I would say overall, the Rockwell is the better shaver of the two for me. May not be for you. Is it worth the money? Only you can decide that, but it is a really good shaver. However, both will give you a really solid shave. So if you find one of these in good shape, you know, it's definitely worth grabbing. By the way, it was a fresh Astra SP in both of these. The Art of Shaving, Ocean Kelp was really nice too. Pleasant, fresh scent would be the way I would sort of describe it. Again, I want to thank everybody for watching. I really do appreciate it. Stick around for more content. I've been in a video making mood and I've had time, so I hope you appreciate it. I certainly appreciate you. So come on back for the next one. Until then, I've been your host, CDB. You are not. God bless.